But despite governance challenges, Spanish businesses continue to pursue trade and investment opportunities in the Philippines. Ascension Leo, General Manager of the Spanish Chamber of Commerce in the Philippines, La Cámara, tells us why. DILG Secretary John Vic Remulla said the big fish in the flood control scandal will be locked up in the coming weeks. 8 officials from the DPWH Mimaropa office have been arrested, 6 of whom were transferred to the new jail in Quezon City.
Big fish are coming soon. We should expect the Discayas, the senators, the congressmen, within the next 5 weeks ay sunod-sunod silang makukulong na. Wala nang special treatment.
Authorities have given 8 suspects at large, including former Congressman Zaldi Co, until Thursday to surrender. Instead, Co released yet another video, this time implicating presidential son and Ilocos Norte Representative Sandro Marcos. Co accused the younger Marcos of facilitating over 50 billion pesos in budget insertions from 2023 to 2025. In a statement, Marcos said Co is spewing lies to destabilize the government. For his part, NBI Acting Chief Lito Magno told 1PH's Sa Totoo Lang that 3 suspects are now coordinating with embassies to surrender. Meanwhile, Quezon City Representative Arjo Atayde and Caloocan Representative Dean Asisio faced the ICI yesterday to refute allegations from the Discaya couple that they received kickbacks from flood works. Both officials requested an executive session, hindering the ICI from live streaming their hearings. This morning, the ICI will hear testimonies from Quezon Representative Reynante Arrogancia and Occidental Mindoro Representative Leody Tariela. And the ripple effect continues, with the impact expected to show up in key economic indicators. Research firm BMI expects foreign direct investments to weaken further into 2026 as the flood control corruption scandal continues to dampen investor sentiment. It said FDI inflows have lost momentum, falling to 1.3% of GDP in the second quarter, well below the 2.5% pre-pandemic average. Data from the BSP also showed the decline became steeper in August, with inflows down over 40% to $494 million. BMI noted alleged graft in public works has heightened unease, causing faster pullbacks and pressuring the peso, now down 1.7% year-to-date. It sees the local currency at 59 per dollar by end 2025 and 59.50 by the end of next year. Meanwhile, Deutsche Bank research says the Philippines will miss its growth targets through 2026. It lowered its GDP outlook to 4.7% for 2025 and 5.1% for 2026, citing hesitancy in government disbursements. Sun Life Investment Management likewise expects growth to slow to 4 to 5% next year, saying governance concerns and weak investor sentiment may keep investments slow and stagnant. Top business leaders say investor confidence can still recover despite the drag from the flood control scandal, but warn the government must restore credibility and provide clear policy direction to keep investments flowing. Speaking at the Business World Forecast 2026 Forum, SM Investments Chair and former BSP Chief Amando Tetanco Jr. said sentiment has clearly taken a hit, stressing that markets now want clarity, consistency, and disciplined execution. Meanwhile, BDO Capital President Eduardo Francisco said firms are still investing but are waiting for stronger government action. Business leaders and Business World CEO Miguel Belmonte also warned corruption is becoming a sinister disruption that's weakening markets and confidence. With this, they urge transparency, governance reforms, and policy discipline to rebuild trust. For his part, Finance Assistant Secretary Neil Cabiles said the government is responding with catch-up measures, reforms, and disaster risk programs. funding for calamity-linked infrastructure spending will easily lift fourth quarter GDP back above 5%, says DepDev Undersecretary Rosemary Edilion.
Our discussion has been, and actually the instruction also of the President, is to accelerate the spending on the disaster recovery. We know that a lot have suffered the loss of property. There were also loss of lives, but for the loss of property, there has to be an accelerated. There was a release already of the funds that are needed for that. Even the government infrastructure that was destroyed, but also private property. There will be assistance that will be given to them.
Not everybody is as optimistic following 3Q's dismal 4% growth. BPI lead economist June Neri says fourth quarter GDP and for the full year will each come in below 5%. He joins us now for more. June, good seeing you again. Welcome back to the program.
Nice to be back, Cathy. Nice morning to your listeners and viewers. Yeah.
Okay, so USEC Rose there is convinced that fourth quarter could easily scale at least 5% because we're at a state of calamity since November 7th, and the calamity funds are going to be easy to come by and support the recovery. What do you make of it?
We're not completely ruling that out, Cathy. Government being able to reallocate some of its funds to address this calamity, and of course also to other agencies. No? But it looks like the room for this is quite limited already at this point in the year. Maybe the realignment of the budget next year can really help strengthen the second half of 2026. But it looks like there's very limited space already for the rest of the year. Aside from the fact that even private contractors, the honest ones, could be hesitant to sign contracts with the government.
Well, let's take a step back, June, and look at where you were at that Business World poll that we conducted for third quarter GDP. You were at 4.9%. And we thought you were pessimistic back then, but it turned out to be one of the more optimistic. So where are you now with the conviction that there might not be that extra public spending coming through in Q4 and for the full year?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the full percentage point, almost full percentage point overestimate that we made shows that really the spending the third quarter had weakened substantially. Even household consumption was affected negatively by the absence of the positive multiplier coming from government outlays. No? So really a lot of work has to be done to recover the consumer confidence as well as, of course, business confidence, Cathy. So, of course, this can still be restored. It can actually be much stronger next year, more so if we see reforms really being delivered by the government.
So it's really next year, June? I mean, you're ruling out this quarter. Should those calamity funds make a difference? Or if it can, at least provide that support to a quarter with little or no public infrastructure spending coming through?
To some extent, we've already factored that in, Cathy, because we're looking at something like 4.8% for the fourth quarter, which is already much stronger than the third quarter figures, but probably not enough to be able to bring it well above 5% if we will only be spending on calamity funds. So there really has to be a meaningful realignment of spending, if away from the DPWH flood control projects to other DPWH projects, maybe counterpart funding for ODA projects. So more likely than not, the realignment can be better executed next year. No? The other thing, Cathy, is we're comparing this fourth quarter with an artificially strong fourth quarter last year, because last year we were still doing the flood control projects. The numbers were, I guess, overstated in a way. And we're comparing this normal quarter of sorts versus one which understates the true picture for government spending.
Well, let's take a deep dive into the two streams of spending. You mentioned the first, national government spending, and the other one of particular interest is infrastructure spending. How much of public infra spending's come off in the third quarter, which led to that surprise 4% GDP result? And how does that compare with the year-to-date spending levels and in the months after the president announced the anomalies in his State of the Nation address?
Yes. So if you look at the total spending, Kathy, there has been a decline, although just a single-digit decline. But typically, you don't see that from government since they need to support the economy. We are still recovering 5 years after the pandemic. There really needs to be additional support on the part of government. However, it has been misallocated, though we didn't put as much for education and health. That's why we are suffering this spending slowdown. No? But for infra, it was a dramatic drop, anywhere from 25 to even some months more than 40% drops, Kathy. So this is largely because of the cancellation of most flood control projects. No?
Exactly. As you can see on that chart, it's double-digit losses we're already talking about for the third quarter alone, which gives conviction to your assessment that it could be below 5%. Now, the budget realignment begins in earnest next year, as you say, but the Senate Committee on Finance has further slashed the proposed DPWH budget under the approved General Appropriations Bill. So what impact do you think might a reduced budget for DPWH have on the GDP for 2026?
Yes, as long as it's reallocated to other agencies that will be able to mobilize the funds more efficiently. And you really need time to be able to sort that out, Kathy. That's why we're not too optimistic that we can do it in this quarter, no? Immediately. So after being able to sort out where it's best to reallocate these funds, in fact, even for some flood control projects, it makes sense to continue some of them. Those that have complied with the rules of construction. So again, it's how efficiently we're able to realign the budget, Kathy, to the agencies.
Senate is concerned,
Yeah.
they're putting bulk of that now to DepEd, and Angara is hoping to construct classrooms with it. Would that make a difference?
Yes, that helps a lot, Kathy. We have such a huge backlog in classrooms. Again, after being able to catch up back in the early period of the previous decade, middle of the previous decade, now we're falling behind once again. So if that can be carried out quickly and efficiently without much leakage, then that will be positive for the economy, Kathy. That's why for our projections in 2026, we think there will be 6.5% to almost 7% growth rates for the third and fourth quarters. No? Because we think by then they've been able to figure out where exactly to put the money, and they've already been able to mobilize it.
But as an economist, June, how are you making sense or reading into the series of protests, including the upcoming November 30 trillion peso march, as people let on their continued anger and demands for accountability?
Yes, that's crucial for reforms to really be put in place, Kathy. Without this kind of tension, we will just be business as usual, and we will not carry out the much-needed reforms to fix our political and governance weaknesses. No? So we need these kinds of protests, actually, Kathy, and many of us should actually support it. But of course, we have to avoid possible fragilities that could arise from, unmanaged protests or some violence that could be foreseen or highlighted to the global economy as very risky. No? So there's some balance there, but we shouldn't really be shunning protests because these are the necessary steps to a real reform, Kathy.
We have a final minute, June. It looks like it's going to be a hard carry for the Bangko Sentral. What are the chances of an overshoot?
There's actually a big chance, Kathy, because the economy is performing below potential. Their target is around 6.5%. We're now moving at sub 5%, and there could be, some prodding for extra cuts. No, the U.S. is also in an easing mode, so this will allow the BSP to resume the cuts. But I sense, so I feel that because of all of these factors going together, we could overdo the cuts, no? So that by next year you might realize that we have done a little bit too much, and that reversal in direction of the policy could actually cause a lot of volatility in the markets, be it the bond, equities, or even the money markets, Cathy.
All right, and we do have to continue to monitor that. Thank you so much for your insights, Junedi of BPI. And you are watching Money Talks. Coming up, the semiconductor industry sees a 5% growth in exports next year. And we speak with Ascension Lilo of the Spanish Chamber of Commerce in the Philippines, La Cámara, on the health of Spanish businesses in the country. Keep it here on One News. Welcome back to Money Talks. I'm Cathy Yang. Investor optimism and a Fed rate cut had overcome a slump in shares of tech giants NVIDIA and Oracle. U.S. equities ended the session yesterday, Tuesday, in the green, with the Dow rising by nearly 1.5%. The S&P 500 climbed by nearly 1%, and the Nasdaq advanced by 0.6%. While NVIDIA and Oracle traded lower, latest economic readings like retail sales and producer prices buoyed investors' hopes of a rate cut next month. Benchmark 10-year Treasury yields slipped below 4% as U.S. consumer confidence disappoints. Gold prices jumped by over 1% to settle at $4,139 per ounce. U.S. futures are pointing to slight gains when the markets open later tonight Manila time. The Dow, the S&P, and the Nasdaq all up by 0.1% each. And Asian markets are all up this Wednesday. Australia's ASX 200 rising about 0.75%. South Korea's Kospi advancing by 1.25%. And Japan's Nikkei 225 climbing about 2%. Let's take a look at our own markets, see how the PSCI is open this Wednesday. Looks like it's higher by 0.4%, 5,997. The stock market retreated yesterday, Tuesday, by 0.75% as slashed growth projections by S&P Global and Ambro weighed on sentiment. The broader all-shares index rose by over 1%, with local counters mostly in the red. As for the Philippine peso, it opens today slightly stronger, 58.83 to the dollar. The peso weakened yesterday by 4 centavos, tracking the yen's decline. And 10-year government bond yields ticked up to 5.923%. And the country's semiconductor and electronics industry is expected to rebound next year, with exports seen growing about 5%. SAPI President Danilo Lachica said demand for emerging tech, including AI and electric vehicles, will drive the upswing. They now expect exports to grow 5 to 7%, which will bring around $45 to $47 billion. Electronics exports reached over $36 billion in the first 9 months, accounting for 58% of total shipments. Lachica noted that U.S. tariff exemptions on key components have helped keep the industry competitive, but warned that any reversal could affect next year's outlook. He also urged government to prioritize the sector in the 2026 ASEAN agenda and build a stronger ecosystem to attract more investments. The Management Association of the Philippines has elected Dito CME's Donald Lim to lead the organization in 2026. MAP said Lim will serve as the group's 78th president. Lim is a key figure in the country's digital economy, having founded the Blockchain, Cybersecurity, and Global AI Councils of the Philippines. He also serves in the Philippine Air Force Reserve Command as a group commander with the rank of Lieutenant Colonel. Despite governance challenges, Spain's businesses continue to pursue trade and investment opportunities in the Philippines. With us now for more is Ascension Lilo, General Manager, Spanish Chamber of Commerce in the Philippines, La Cámara. Buenos dias and welcome to the program, Ascension.
Buenos dias, Cathy. Thank you.
Quite
Thank
a
you so
unique
much.
name you have, Ascension. We have 125 years of historical links, very deep historical and cultural links, and
Yes.
Spanish businesses have done business with us for quite some time. How is the Chamber gauging what's going on now with the governance challenges the Philippines faces?
Yeah, I think despite the challenges and the situation, geopolitical, political, because I think it's all around the world, I think that the link we are trying is always the same. We are looking always for a long term, in a long-term perspective. So no matter what's going on, I think business and private companies, together with the public sector, they are working together. And we have been doing this for 126 years already. The Chamber is the oldest here in Asia. So from the Chamber, we have like many sectors, the main ones, the typical and traditional ones, infrastructure, energy. But now we are increasing, and we can see this. Coming from Spain, there is more and more interest in investing here in the Philippines. Of course, they are always aware of the situation. This is private sector, investment is money. Mm-hmm. But I think the relationship is growing stronger and stronger.
But how have the missions come and gone? Because I'm aware that there were a couple just before the President announced in his State of the Nation address, the anomalies in the flood control project. Have those proceeded? Or have those been postponed to maybe a later date? Those outbound and inbound missions?
Yeah, they have been postponed a little bit, but we are still working. You know, I think the long distance in between our countries, the Chamber is trying to make it shorter. So we are always supporting the Spanish companies, but also the companies here in the Philippines, trying to find the best partnership, trying to provide all the information, because I think there are two main points that make us far away. I think it's because we consider that the Philippines is far away from Spain, so this is one of the goals we need to reach and to work in. And the second one is the knowledge. We don't know. So our goal is to provide all this information and trying to engage, trying to find very good local partners and to make long-term relationships.
Well, what's the sweet spot when you communicate that? Because the Chamber's goal is really to ensure that the relations are warm for current and prospective investors. For those who are here, how are you making them understand that we're here for the long term, it's going to be all right? What are the perfect words to actually communicate and say that you got to stay and you got to make sure that the capital outlays continue despite what's going on?
Yeah, I think they know, big companies like Acciona has been working here for. Indra also is in IT, it's technology. Indra has been here for more than 30 years with 2,000 employees. So I think they know, and I think those companies are the ones attracting the new one. They have the knowledge, they are very well established here. So this is the point for the new ones engaging. You know, we have the key sectors here. So every single year in the beginning, now we are preparing the 2026 economic briefings. This is the idea. They have to come. Some companies, they are always asking me, it's so difficult to reach the Philippines. Say nothing is too difficult, too easy. So we need to work together.
In terms of the distance, or is it ease of doing business?
Doing business,
because
because
so it's not too easy when you compare it with other ASEAN countries.
I think the Philippines is still not well known in Spain. So that's why it's not only business, it's through culture. So we are providing, or we are preparing some different events to prepare this kind of engagement. It's not only business, but it's in a cultural base. We need to know each other a little bit. We have, between countries, we have always the same topics. This is difficult.
Within the ASEAN, though, how are we coming across as an investment destination for, say, setting up a regional hub or maybe even deploying capital?
Where
are we in the stack
I think the Philippines is being considered now already in Spain like a hub in the ASEAN. Yeah, I think the geolocalization, the benefits, you know, you are 117,000 with a 26 age. The working force is getting. You have good numbers, talking into macros, so this is the information that we try to provide, and they already know there.
So which new areas are now interested to deploy capital in 2026?
Yeah, I think still infra, so infrastructure is one of the main ones. Renewables with solar and wind, they are working more harder and attracting more little companies, small companies, medium companies, I have to say. We have also security, cyber security. We are providing technology. The Philippines is doing great in this digital transformation, so this is one of the big ones. Of course, food and beverage. I think more and more Filipinos are traveling to Spain, so when they are back home, they want the same products, the same experience. So that's why we are doing great. You see the Michelin stars that we have recently. I think hospitality, but also we are talking about emergency. So I think this is one of the ideas we have in the chamber right now, to work more in the prevention.
And also
of these
ahead
calamities.
of a potential free trade agreement between the EU and the Philippines, very critical for all the EU nations. But what impact do you think that might have for the Spanish businesses, prospective and current, should the FTA between the EU and the Philippines come through by the first quarter of next year?
Yes, I think it will be the best point to move forward and to keep going. Because the situation now is a little bit much more balanced. So I think it's always good to keep this dialogue, and I think the free trade will help a lot, not only EU but the Philippines, because I think the Philippines is looking now, because of the geopolitical and the political issues, is looking to Europe. So I think Spain, because of our special relationships for many years, is one of the.
And not to forget
it's an opportunity.
Food diplomacy, as you mentioned. There's the tapas trade, and also Mercado Navidad as we're approaching Christmas. What can we expect from these programs?
I think we are now working on the tapas route. It's over 30 restaurants. You're providing the passport, so they are the best ambassadors for the Spanish gastronomy to bring it closer to the Filipinos. But this weekend we are working with the Christmas market, and the idea was to bring the experience of the typical market in the Plaza Mayor in Madrid, or every single little village in Spain. We have like a Christmas market. So the idea is to bring this to BGC this weekend. So I hope the rain will stay away for us. And this is the way, I think, bringing the culture, making the countries together through food, I think, fun. So we will have a lot of activities. We will have the Michelin stars close to us during the weekend. So this is the main idea.
You're going to be spending Christmas here.
Yes, I will.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, and do enjoy the holidays.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you so much.
Ascension Leo, the Spanish Chamber of Commerce Executive Director here in the Philippines, La Cámara. And before we go, Signal is set to deliver full multi-platform coverage of the 33rd Southeast Asian Games in Thailand from December 9 to 20. The rollout spans One Sports Plus, TV5, RPTV, Pilipinas Live, and Signal Play, ensuring fans can follow every moment of Team Philippines campaign across free TV, pay TV, and digital streaming. Signal says the network is ready to showcase the strength and resilience of Filipino athletes as they compete for gold on the regional stage. Much to look forward to. That is it for Money Talks. I'm Cathy Yang. Catch us again tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. Kapatid, we are one news, all sides, all the time. Have a great day ahead.